and then they will export them from the United States where they're manufactured back to Europe, where they will be tariffed again, and then to China and nations around the globe. Again, it will mean, if that plant stays open, it will mean fewer jobs potentially, because they're going to make those vehicles somewhere else.
Well, where are they going to sell them now?
BMW is going to rethink South Carolina, because it's not going to import tariffed parts, engines from Germany.
Remember when Fox News couldn't stop slobbering over Trump? Well, that romance just hit the rocks harder than the stock market crash last week. The network that once treated him like their golden boy is now treating him like that weird uncle nobody wants to talk about at Thanksgiving. After Trump announced his ridiculous tariff plan, the market took a nosedive that would make Olympic divers jealous. We're talking 1,679 points down on the Dow, folks. That's the worst day since 2020, which, funny enough, was also when Trump was president. Coincidence? I think not. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. What a difference a market crash makes. Fox News has gone from treating Trump like their golden child to acting like they never knew the guy. Remember when they couldn't stop gushing about his economic genius? The way these hosts talked, you'd think Trump personally handed out paychecks to every American. But now, it's the classic case of new phone, who dis?
This big, beautiful economy that actually was rolling pretty good with jobs and inflation coming down feels more like the Game of Thrones Red Wedding.
Thursday was the worst day for stocks since March 2020, and very early this morning, prices were falling again.
JP Morgan upping its recession odds to 60% from 40% previously, would likely push the U.S. and possibly global economy into recession this year.
Again, it will mean, if that plant stays open, it will mean fewer jobs potentially, because they're going to make those vehicles somewhere else.
Well, where are they going to sell them now?
The network that once worshipped at the altar of Trump economics is experiencing what psychologists might call a severe case of cognitive dissonance. After Trump announced his tariff plans and the market responded with all the enthusiasm of a cat being given a bath, Fox News found themselves in quite the pickle. How do you defend the guy you've been calling an economic wizard when his magic spell just turned Wall Street into a frog? This identity crisis at Fox News isn't just about changing opinions. It's about their entire business model crumbling before their eyes. They spent years building Trump up as an economic savior while simultaneously blaming Biden if someone's coffee was too expensive. Now they're scrambling to explain why their hero's tariff plan might actually make inflation worse than anything they accused Biden of causing. Talk about awkward. What's truly fascinating is watching conservative voices beyond Fox joining this chorus of concern. Even Ben Shapiro, you know, the fast-talking guy who's usually defending conservative policies faster than an auctioneer on Red Bull, has expressed serious worries about these tariffs. When both Fox News and Ben Shapiro are questioning Trump's economic decisions, you know something seismic is happening in conservative media.
We're 70% a consumer-driven country. So building a moat around the United States with protectionists and isolation is...
Futures indicating a very ugly opening. Now would be the time for some clarity.
They sell them to China. They sell them to China, and they sell them to Europe.
So every American customer who could buy a BMW could be replaced overnight by a Chinese customer.
I mean, it is not going well. This is being executed poorly.
The most revealing part, these tariffs aren't just some minor policy tweak. They represent potentially one of the largest tax increases since the Revenue Act of 1968. Yes, you heard that right. The guy who Republicans championed as the tax cutter in chief is now proposing what amounts to a massive tax hike on everyday Americans. No wonder Fox News is having a meltdown. Their entire narrative just got flipped upside down like a political Stranger Things. And it's not just media critics who are freaking out. A bipartisan group of senators has already introduced legislation called the Trade Review Act of 2025 that would force the executive branch to give Congress a 48-hour heads up before imposing tariffs. The measure would also make tariffs expire after 60 days unless Congress approves them. When was the last time you saw Republicans and Democrats agreeing on anything? That's how bad these tariff proposals are. They've achieved the impossible by creating actual bipartisan cooperation in Washington. Even international allies like Canada and Australia are raising red flags. These aren't just random countries. They're some of America's closest friends, basically telling Trump, dude, what are you thinking? It's like watching your best friend tell you that your new haircut makes you look like a rejected Pokemon character. When people who care about you are that concerned, maybe it's time to reconsider. All this puts Fox News in the most uncomfortable position they've faced since the last Trump scandal they had to explain away. But this time it's different.
Economic policies are not positive. And this isn't me saying it. This is JP Morgan, 60% chance of a recession.
Then to send those vehicles to export them. And then they will export them from the United States where they're manufactured back to Europe, where they will be tariffed again, and then to China and nations around the globe.
But look, at this moment in time, with the market down 1,238 points right now on the Dow Industrials and the NASDAQ down 800 right now and the market's not even open.
This time, it's not about mean tweets or weird comments. It's about cold, hard cash. And if there's one thing Fox cares about more than defending Trump, it's money. When Trump's policies threaten to hit their viewers' wallets, suddenly principles become flexible. The real question hanging over all this drama is whether Fox viewers are noticing this sudden about face. After years of being told that Trump is an economic messiah and Biden is single-handedly responsible for every financial hardship, are they picking up on the network's new skepticism? Or are they somehow still blaming Biden for a market crash that happened in direct response to Trump's tariff announcement? What makes tariffs so universally unpopular is that they don't discriminate by political party. When prices go up at Walmart because imported goods cost more, your shopping cart doesn't ask whether you voted red or blue. Everyone pays more, period. That's the economic reality that even Fox News can't spin, no matter how hard they try. It's like trying to convince someone the rain isn't wet. At some point, reality becomes impossible to deny.
Citing obviously the tariffs, the effect on business sentiment, the effect on investment, and the effect on and on consumer price. They said, quote,
They sell them they export them to China.
No, but I'm saying you can't make
they
up for
They import the parts, which will be tariffed. BMW is going to rethink South Carolina because it's not going to import tariffed parts, engines from Germany, right? So these are the problems that a U.S. manufacturer faces because the parts.
So here we are, folks. After years of Trump getting away with every scandal under the sun, from grabbing women to grabbing classified documents, it took a stock market nosedive to make Fox News finally say, maybe this guy isn't so great after all. Isn't it funny how when Trump threatens the cash flow of Wall Street bigwigs, suddenly everyone at Fox becomes Warren Buffett? These are the same people who blame Biden when your cereal box got smaller. The truth is simple. Fox News doesn't love Trump or America. They love money. And right now, Trump's tariff tantrum is threatening their advertisers' bottom lines. That's the only policy position that matters to them.